Hey, what's up? I'm Michael the uh, person behind Farmer the Farmer, and the entire story of Farmer the Farmer and his family and all of that. So it's all in here, okay? It comes out usually as it's happening. That's why it's so crazy, because it's what crazy thing can I do to make this laughable, to make this enjoyable, to put a story on something. And I sometimes people don't understand what's going on, and sometimes people do, and they laugh and they laugh, or they have emotions, and that's the whole point, is to have the emotions. And so we started this in Farming Simulator 22, and the story of Farmer the Farmer is that when he was 20 years old, it was 1950. So at 20 years old, he starts working, and around 1980, he meets this young lady who, at the time that he first started, she was actually just being born in 1950. She was born in 1950. So he marries this woman in 1980, I think it was, and they have a son. Kiddo was his name to start with in 1981. Well, Kiddo was based off of me. His name is Michael. Little lady, his wife, her name is Annie, and everybody just calls her Little Lady. Farmer is, there's been speculation that his name was Farmer, but that was the news. Didn't know what they was talking about, and his name is Farmer Ark. So I did debate on making it Farmer, but I actually have a friend with the last name Farmer, and that would just be weird to end up calling my character Michael Farmer. So it's Michael Ark, and then Annie Ark. Since my name on here is MichaelTheArch, and so that's how the names come about. But the story is, Farmer works for 30 years, and he learns how to be a farmer, and he helps people along as he can. And he meets Annie, Little Lady, and they get married. They have a son. They have just one son. And so for the next 16 years, things go along good. He helps everybody. During that time, about 1995 or so, some people, he does he does 4 jobs for people harvesting, and they promise him to go and let him pick up the leftovers and bale it up and sell it for whatever profit he can. And they said, if as long as you get our grain in, you can have the wheat or whatever to bale up. And then, so he told him, he says, okay, I'll do your jobs, and the next day I'll come bale. The next day when he goes, everybody had already went out there and had, all but one of them had went out there and had their people bale it up already, and they sold it off. And so it was a huge deficit to him because he was counting on it. Well, the mayor was going to kick all the people out of all of those people, the 3 that messed with him and messed with his profits and all. The mayor was going to kick them all out. And by the way, by this time in around 1990 or so, Farmer became the sheriff. There was no sheriff in the county, and there was there was a police chief and one cop. There was no sheriff though. And so mayor says, hey, why don't you become the sheriff? Sometime in the 80s, a guy named Scooter moved in, and he took over the dealership. And he has a catchphrase, which y'all might know, and Scooter yells, "Catch a ride!" And yes, it is Scooter from Borderlands. And so there's a reason that things are going the way they are. And so anyway, Farmer becomes the sheriff, and he gets a dog, And it's a male dog, so he names him J8. And he says it's because he's one short of a canine. And he says if Jate had been a girl dog, it would have been Kate or K8. And that would have still been one short of a canine. And so it was a rolling joke. And so Farmer goes out and he's chasing people and giving them tickets and stuff. And he gets a call one day while he's going out, and he takes off and he hits a patch on the road that's slick, and he flips his truck and he goes rolling through the field, and it throws him out, but the truck keeps going. So Farmer gets up and he's like, it's a miracle I'm fine, not hurt at all. He looks over, the truck is fine and everything. So he goes and he gets in the truck, he drives it on out, and he continues on. The mayor sends the truck to Scooter. Scooter fixes it up. He really reinforces it. It's the truck is about like a tank. It don't get damaged. So on about 1995, 96, Farmer's got so much going on that he just cannot do his sheriffing. And his wife, Little Lady, has become his deputy at this time. And their child, Kiddo, up until now, Farmer has gotten him to start helping. So all of this is happening around the time that the three farmers steal from Farmer. And turns out they steal enough that it would have probably been anywhere from, well, I'll say it would have been $280,000 worth of stuff. And the mayor tells them, y'all done wrong. I'm going to kick you out of the farmers commission that we have, the community. No, you won't be able to post jobs. You won't be able to have any help, and you'll be banned if you don't make this right. So they felt bad about it. They didn't understand. They said they didn't understand that we were coming back the next day. And so they all get together, and they knew that Kiddo was getting on up there and he had been helping Farmer. So all this time, Farmer has had Scooter looking for a newer tractor with a lot more horsepower, because what we had going through the years just was not powerful enough to do a lot of the jobs. So Scooter makes a deal with John Deere to get some new tractors that are prototypes. I believe it's the 7810 and a 7R. And they're prototypes at the time. The 7810 is coming out in 97. The 7R is decades away, like 15 years away, but they've got the idea for it, and it's a prototype. And so Scooter also knows that there's other things going on, and he knows that that Farmer has a bunch of cotton fields. And so he brokers a deal that Farmer will be the face of John Deere, and anytime that they need any kind of promotion or anything, Farmer can do it. They can get footage of Farmer using their vehicles, their gear. And so not only do they give him these two tractors, they also give him a giant cotton harvester, a trailer for the cotton, and they give him a low loader as well to go with it. So all is good. And the people of the town all say, Farmer has come in, he's rescued us time and time again. We would not have any crops in this town if it weren't for him, because we all old and decrepit. We can't do it anymore. And Farmer farms the entire town for us. So we damn well better help him out. So the three go together, and they put the money that was supposed to be in Farmer's pocket towards something. And then the others also go in, and there's two other companies, which is Do It Spar and Kubota, that are having prototypes, and they're going to send them out as prototypes for demos and stuff. And when it's found out that they're powerful tractors, more powerful than what we had, the Kubota's not, it's right there on the top end of what we had. But when it's found out, then basically what happens is Scooter brokers a deal that he can take these tractors and pay for them, and the same deal basically, that they can get footage off of them if they ever need it or whatever. And so Scooter goes through and he does his own thing to where he puts in a lot of money, because farmers helped him a lot too, and he puts in a lot of money, and they get Kiddo a Kubota tractor. Now Kiddo at this time is like, he's 15, so he gets his own Kubota tractor, and he can go out and do what he wants with it. He can farm with it, whatever. And then the Do It Spar is given to Farmer, and it actually becomes his main tractor. And so they all go together, and these two tractors are paid for and all. And that's part of the story of it and all. So while this is going on, crime is gradually rising. And of course, Farm Sim 25 is coming out. So it's 1997. Farmer is doing some work, and he finds out that Kiddo really likes playing guitar, and they don't want to hear it, so they buy Kiddo a trailer, not a trailer. What is it? I'm trying to think of what it's called. They buy Kiddo a camper, a trailer camper, and so they park it next to the pond on their land, and then Farmer goes out and he custom orders Kiddo a car when he's 16, and they give it to him when he's 16, in August, when he's 16. So he now his birthday's in January, but they wait until August. That's when they had it all. So he goes out here and he gets all of this stuff, and hold on, I've got to cut my wheel on. I'm trying to figure it out. So he gets all of this stuff, and while he is talking to him, he tells him, "Hey, I'm going to go." He tells Kiddo, "I'm going to go out with your mama tonight and all." And so Kiddo goes off and he's doing his own thing, and it fast forwards from there. They go out, they have a good time, and life is great for 2 years. Life is absolutely great for 2 years. 2 years and a day after Kiddo gets the camper and the car, and there were guitars in the camper too, by the way, and the musical equipment and all. And Kiddo has been recording his own songs, which has not come out yet or anything, but it's not come up. But he was learning how to be a musician as well as a farmer. And so 2 years and 1 day after he received this stuff from his parents, little lady who is now the sheriff, she took over. She was the deputy. She took over for Farmer as the sheriff, and they voted her in because she had time to do it, and Farmer didn't. And so what happened was, little lady is going down the road, and she sees some people breaking into this place. They're actually breaking into Scooters, and which is the dealership here. And so, all of this, by the way, takes place in eastern North Carolina on the map there. So what happens is he goes, or she goes, and she goes up and she jumps out. She pulls her gun on him, which was not told in the story, but this is what happens. She pulls her gun on him. They jump in their cars. It was two cars load, or two of them in cars, I should say, and they take off. So she's chasing them, and they keep going in circles up and down the highway because the highway don't go anywhere else. And so as she's chasing one, another one comes up and T-bones her, and they flip her over, and then they take off, and they find an exit, and they get out of town. Well, so Scooter seen the whole thing, and he calls Farmer, and he says, "Farmer, get here now." He calls the mayor. The mayor calls Farmer and says, "Farmer, get up here right now." So Farmer jumps in his truck, and he's on his way up there, and he calls Kiddo, and he says, "Kiddo, no, don't come outside. You just stay there. Don't do anything." He says, "Something's going on. I don't want you listening in or anything. And, you just stay there, and I'll talk to you when I get home." So Farmer gets up the road, and he sees the turned over sheriff's truck, and he gets up there, and it looks like blood all over the ground, and it could have been blood, but it also could have been the red lights from the truck. And so he's distraught. He's seeing his wife there, and he thinks she's dead because he can't get her to respond or anything. And so the local cop shows up, and he says, and Farmer's actually still a deputy at this time, but he was demoted to deputy, but he was there in case he was needed. But the cop says, "Hey, go up to Scooters and stay there until we call you." And so he goes up there, and what happens is they get little lady out of the wreck. J8 is fine. He's in his seatbelt. He's sitting upside down. He's being a dog. He's living his best life upside down. Nobody ever accused him of playing with the full deck because he's J8. He's one short of a canine. And so he's sitting there, and he kept on looking over. He'd lick her hand, lick her face, keep her from completely going out, which is not known, I'm telling you now. And so what happens is he keeps her aware enough that she don't just completely go out, but because of the crash, she can't really hear anything. And so it has damaged stuff. And so what happens is the police and the paramedics come up, and they get her out, and they take her to the hospital, and they tell Farmer, "Well, there was nothing we could do medically to save her, so we put her on ice." Farmer takes it as she has passed away, but she hasn't. They literally put her on ice and froze her until another date that she can maybe be cured or recuperate, that they have the medical technology to fix her up. And that's where I got in trouble and got cussed at and fussed at. And then I dropped the big bomb. If you are a Borderlands fan, you know that Scooter dies in Borderlands in between 2 and 3 during the Telltale series. I believe it is. So I dropped the bomb that Scooter is sick and he's got 3 months to live. I got a lot of flack for that. I was told Scooter cannot die. He can be a vegetable or whatever, not by one person, but multiple people. He can be a vegetable, he can be whatever, but he can't die. So I guess the The fans have spoken. They say little lady cannot die. They say Scooter cannot die. They say Farmer cannot die. Skip forward just a little bit to the next day. Farmer finds out Scooter is sick and terminal. And so Scooter says, well, all right. He says, besides my son, there's really nothing left for me here. And he says, I just can't take it. And I'm going to go out here. I'm going to use my knowledge from when I was sheriff to do some detective work. And I'm going to find her killers and I am going to get them. And he tells Kiddo, I'm going to kill them. I will have revenge. I will avenge your mother, and you may never see me again. And that is the last that Farmer is ever seen in Eastern North Carolina map. So the next day, though, Michael, Kiddo, he gets up and he's very distraught still, but Scooter calls him and he says, can you come up here? And the Farmers Commission calls him and says, hey, we need some help, man. So the story of North Carolina 1999, because it went forward, and Kiddo is now 18 years old, legally a man of his own. And it's funny how that works out, that it waits until he's legally a man of his own, But Scooter tells him, says, come up here. And he talks to him. He says, you need anything, you let me know. And he says, by the way, the truck's over there. He says, I've done fixed the only few things wrong with it. I built the thing like a tank. You're free to take it. He let it be known that they kind of wanted him to be sheriff. And he says, I'm not being sheriff. That was my mama and daddy's thing. And I don't think that's for me. So he left the truck in Scooter's possession. And Scooter says, I got 2-3 months to live, man. He says, if you need anything before I go, you let me know. And he says, after that, my sister Ellie's going to be here and she'll take care of you. And he says, my mama will be here too, probably. And just stay away from her because she's crazy. She loves psychos and you never know what they going to do. So, they are, he's like, well, I just don't know what I'm going to do. So he goes back home and Kiddo just sits down. And right now, from 1999 to 2025 is another story that y'all will get later. Fast forward to 2025 and Walter, Walter is in multiple places. We're just going to put it that way. And he travels between different places. So he's a recurring character, if you will. And Walter is actually Farmer's brother and Kiddo's uncle, even though he might call him Grandpa sometimes because that was his nickname, was Grandpa. So there's also another 1 or 2 brothers and 2 sisters. One of the brothers is Uncle from New Farmer. And that means that New Farmer himself is actually Walter's son. Y'all might not have got that yet because I have not mentioned the story of New Farmer, which there is a story. And if y'all have been keeping up, you're probably like, why did you stop making it? My commentary cut out and I have to re-record the entire commentary of it. I'm sorry. So yeah. But what's going on is that in the town of Zelonka, Walter has a place there. And one day, lo and behold, Farmer walks up. And he doesn't look a day over he did in 1999. And Walter about has a heart attack, and he's like, Farmer, is that you? And Farmer's like, it's me. It's me, buddy. And so Walter's like, what in the world? And he says, all I can tell you is after the wreck, I left. After what happened with little lady, I had to leave. And he says, I was cryogenically frozen, and I have just been woken up. So, will we see little lady, or is she gone? We will find out when we go to Japan. Stay tuned for more. Come to my streams. If you want to know the story, come to my streams and watch.